coming back. Come on back. Come on back. Why the hell did it just crash? You're live. All right.
I just got an alert for it to play.
Yeah, I did too.
Live.
Let me look and see if there's anything else that's live right now that's playing. See if it's a YouTube.
It
thing.
looks.
Is it a different video now?
It works for me.
Yeah, it's working for me now.
But YouTube is.
Oh man, you're up, and you have two of your your faces up twice, Tony.
No, that's not now. That's restarted the video. So the stream ended.
So what? We got a new stream?
You're either gonna have to make a new. Yeah, you're gonna have to make a new stream.
Son of a bitch.
I mean, they can say Jeff Hodge says we can hear you. I see y'all live right now.
They say that?
It's a different video.
Who's saying?
I got sent an alert that y'all went live again, and I went into that.
Okay.
And
how about this?
Started the video, so the stream ended.
But then I started.
So
what? We got a new stream?
Yeah.
All right, here. Let me put it in the.
So right. YouTube did that on its own?
It's like the stream died, and then I had to redo it, and then it started a new stream. Like when I went to go redo it, it started a new stream. So hey, this has been a cacophony of errors.
Don't do lie, Tony. You were just trying to get more views.
Yeah, we're back again. Guys, share the link again. I know it's probably a different link. So here, let's keep going on with Nova Black Skull. Maybe.
Nope, I don't hear that.
I don't either. Come on, businesses.
What's up, C3? This is all that stuff that they had when they had to hold out when Cam Newton first came into the league, when they really didn't get training camp and all that other stuff. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I wasn't really on that train. I think Marty kind of got out of hand around that time with paying, players and getting his feelings involved over the business part. But I really thought Marty was a pretty decent GM. But now, when it comes to the team and the Coach Rivera, Kencher, and the regime and the way everybody's in the locker room, yes, the locker room is great. The culture is great. But the performance on the field has been very inconsistent over the years. And then when you look at the offense, when you look at the defense, when you look at the secondary, when you look at the skilled players, for some odd reason, our team is like a car that was put together with the plugs and wires on the wrong motherfucking, on the wrong spot, because that shit is not running smoothly, it's skipping and jumping, and it's inconsistent, it's just not clicking for some odd reason. And I'm really thinking we need to hire one of these new offensive geniuses coming from college with these new schemes that tend to be kicking ass in the NFL, giving defenses a hard time catching up, which is very unusual because defenses catch up really fast in this league. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out about our team. Since Ron Rivera has been here, yes, we have done a lot of winning, but that's primarily because Cam Newton has been carrying this team on his back. Some years the defense has not been always stellar. Cam Newton has never had any real offensive weapons until CMC got there, besides Golden Greg Olsen. And I really think that at this point in time, we need a change. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
What do you guys think about this? Is Jeff Hodge, Chef Jeff says the game has passed Norv by. I did have this in my notes that this was Norv's best game of the year, though, as a play caller.
He did a good job this week. Here's my thing. I want to do an exercise here because I don't know any that's a great idea what he's saying. What Noah Black was saying about get one of these new college young-minded college coaches in here to try to change it up. You guys have any ideas? Because I don't know of anybody. My call is Greg Roman from Baltimore. He's going to be a head coach next year. We might as well snag him up if we can.
So yeah, listen, there's a few different coaching options, and that it goes back to what I'm saying. I've said before. To me, it's like people they've become in love with their captors. And there's this mindset that we can't do better than Ron Rivera. But I do think there are some interesting names to float out there. You said one of them, Greg Roman. That's a really good name, considering what he did with Colin Kaepernick and now Lamar Jackson. I think Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, that's been a guy that people have been talking about for a long time. I really like Ryan Day from Ohio. From Ohio State. I don't know. It's his first year as the head coach for the Buckeyes, so I don't necessarily know that you'd be able to pry him away right now. But there are guys out there. I liked Lincoln Riley a lot. Tony and I both like the idea of Lincoln Riley. And listen, for those of you, Ken and I got into a discussion on offensive-minded coaches and defensive-minded coaches. To throw out a defensive name, if you will, Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, is a name to be considered. So there are definitely people out there, but we have to be able to get them in the building over other teams that are probably going to have a coaching vacancy. So, for example, the Cowboys are probably going to be a big name if they move on from Jason Garrett. Lincoln Riley might decide that Baker Mayfield, his former quarterback up in Ohio with the Browns, is a better option for him to go coach. So if we want some of these better coaches, I think David Tepper is really going to have to throw his weight around, if you will.
All right.
Does the coaching salary go against the cap?
No.
Okay.
Which is awesome when you have a billionaire. And I think the problem, though, Cody said, is that the Cowboys are going to be problematic, is because they got a guy. I mean, but you also have to believe, too, that the Cowboys, that some coaches would be wary of just going and coaching under Jerry Jones, period. Right? That's not. But I would say this is right now, if you look at the two teams and the unknown with Cam right now, you're probably saying that the Dallas team is more well-rounded at this moment. And I don't know if that's true and we're just having a bad year or what, but I think it's going to be like, I don't know what you have to do with Cam, if that's going to help attract somebody. And I think that's going to be the ultimate defining factor there is does that guy want to come and work with Cam, and if there is a guy that if Cam's not going to be there, I would think that is a real lack of a draw to Carolina.
Possibly, but you could have coaches who say, okay, Cam's not going to be here, but we're going to have this pick or we're going to make this trade based on what you want to work with.
You could tell them. Yeah, you could tell them we're going to get aggressive in the first round and get a guy you want. Right. Ken D says, I think Jones has been more than patient with Jason Garrett. He has. It's surprisingly patient.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly. All right, let's go to the next call.
I don't know what's going to happen. That's a few seconds left on the clock, 26 seconds. And I am done with Bradbury. Y'all can say whatever you want. You want to be blind? Fuck it, be blind. That is fucking pitiful. Like, how? I just don't get it. And the play calling
you can hear the
towards the end is so damn conservative. It didn't make any sense. Kyle Allen was actually playing pretty well. Why run up the gut when you know that's their strength? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't freaking make sense. Now they're probably going to kick a field goal because of some bullshit that Bradbury can't even freaking stay. And I'm not even mad that we lost. I'm mad how we lost, and I'm assuming we're going to lose. But, this is why and anybody that want to defend the freaking coaches or the players got to execute, go back, look at what the Rams did with the same exact players that Jeff Fisher did. Coaching is way more important. I've seen way more important than y'all give credit. And this crap has got to stop. It has to. I don't understand it. Oh man, this is crazy. Like DJ Moore balled his ass off, hurt for what? To lose by some bullshit like this? Man, I'm done.
Disgusted. Hey, look, give it credit to let me
was that the end of the call? Did he hang up right there?
that was it. Give credit to Brandon Herbert for being consistent, being a man of his your convictions.
Yeah, listen, like I said, I would die on the hill of these coaches gotta go. And to his credit on that also, he's joined me on that hill. He is on the fuck James Bradbury hill, man, and you have to commend him for it. Because listen, I mean, I feel like Brother Herbert is right and we're right. So there are games when Bradbury does look like a shutdown corner. But then there are games like this, New Orleans and Pittsburgh last year, where it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing out there, man? That third down play, I don't know what happened on that play, but Bradbury was nowhere near him. On Michael Thomas, no less. It's just
he didn't put his hands on him. He gave him a free release on the end zone. Look, we're gonna keep talking about this, but giant shout out to Grayson McKinnon with $24.99. That might be the biggest donation to the show ever. Hey guys, I've been listening to the podcast for about a year. Do you guys think there have been any significant trades in the offseason? Also, I've been hearing that we have our eyes on Dirk Cutter. I don't like Dirk Cutter. If Dirk Cutter becomes our coach, I might quit being a fan until he's gone.
What would you say if he was our offensive coach?
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't. It's hard for me to blame someone for having Jameis Winston throwing interceptions that many times.
Now he's with Matt Ryan, and their offense has been productive.
Right, and he was productive with Winston too. They scored a lot of points. Winston always has good numbers other than interceptions.
Well, yeah, he has great high interception numbers too. I don't even know how he.
My initial reaction to it isn't great, but we could probably do worse than Dirk Carter. But then again, I don't know.
Fuck that, man. They were terrible. Tampa was terrible under him.
Do you think Cutter's a downgrade
from Rivera?
From Rivera, yeah.
Yes.
Do you think he's a downgrade from Turner as a offensive coordinator?
I don't know.
No.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say. He's got Julio, dude. He's got Julio.
It's true.
And Mike Evans.
You guys do remember, like when he was with the Falcons, even before he went to Tampa Bay, he did take that offense even before they were as considered perennial as they were in 2016 to the NFC Championship. I know Matt Ryan was playing very well that year, but I mean, there's a history of him being successful with offenses when given an actual talented roster.
So
go to the trades next, because the number one thing is that Cam Newton. A lot of people think, and this is, I want to give a shout out to Andy Massey, who has been a longtime friend of the show. He said that he was listening to the One Day Contract podcast, and he said, and I went and listened to it, and they had a lot to say about Cam Newton, Tepper, Marty Herney, and that they were of the opinion that Cam Newton would not and should not play the final year of his deal without an extension, and therefore that the Panthers just can't give him the extension, so they will end up trading him. Now, that would be the number one trade that would be possible. But I think, too, is that if you do that, you know, who do you trade him to? And we've had this conversation, right? Is CK brought this up, and I think CK brought is that the one or two teams don't have a lot of immediate trade value to give for Cam Newton. So that's going to be problematic. And then do we trade up for a draft pick? And I kept saying this, and back to the Bradbury thing, is I told y'all we should have traded for Peterson.
I mean, it would end up being a wasted trade if the team was still this bad. I don't think Peterson would have helped our defense be that much better. But I mean, of course, it would have been good to have him. But he was also suspended for the first
Yeah,
8
but
games of the season.
he would have traded for Peterson and then put him behind Bradbury until Bradbury got injured before he started him. So I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Would you
True
guys?
facts.
Would you guys be all right to trade Cam Newton to Miami if they offered a 2020 first-round pick?
Well, so
Oh,
okay, if I may oblige you, really, if we're talking about off-season trades, we're talking about a scenario where we are rebuilding. The Carolina Panthers are rebuilding, and then at that point, you might as well get everything you can out of all the best players that we have. If you're going to do a full rebuild, don't half-ass it. I mean, you're talking about, and this is not what I'm advocating for doing. This is not what I want to do at all. But if you're talking about trades, dude, what does the Patriots want for whatever's left of Luke Kuechly's career? You know, does Greg Olsen have another year in him? Maybe he wants to. I mean, yeah, we all think he's going to the booth, but
he's got to go to the booth. Did you listen to Monday Night Football? It's even worse this year.
Yeah,
it's got worse from last year. Booger is terrible.
And Sean, whatever the hell his name is, are terrible. I think Sean McDonough. Yeah, Greg Olsen has a job waiting on him. But my point kind of remains the same. Whatever players, I think they're going to sign Christian no matter what. But all the players on our team right now that are of value, I mean, it's all the big name type players. So if you're gonna start trading people, it's gonna have to be names for a rebuild that seeks to draft Trevor Lawrence or something of that nature.
Ken D says they're getting rid of Luke, KK, and CMC's gone. Pretty sure he's being facetious, but
CMC. I even heard someone report. I don't remember who, but they're already talking about paying CMC $85 million. For 5 years.
I mean,
you know who you heard that from is me. I said that 6 weeks ago.
He's the best running back in the NFL. He should get paid as the best running back in the NFL.
And you should go ahead and reward him. And since you're running him down you're running him so hard, you pay him, you keep him happy. You invest in it
before the new CBA as well.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
And Cody, just the final part, going back to the trade thing, is that a couple people said that Miami and one of their high draft picks. At first, I think it would be just cruel to send Cam to Miami. Like, I just feel like that's a dickhead move to do. But
yeah, that's a rough one.
Is there is there really a guy that you have faith with coming out of the draft this year that you would invest that much to be the starting quarterback for the future? I'm worried that Burrow is going to – I don't know if
Burrow's out of the question anyway. He's going to go number one. I mean, he has something like a 79, 80-something % completion percentage in the SEC. I mean, the dude really is putting up unheard of numbers if you're just judging him based on what he's done. So, yeah, I mean, Cincinnati is not going to go all the way back to the 18th pick because we want Joe Burrow. Then you're left with Tua Tagovailoa, who, while is an incredible football player, man. The player is exceptional, but he has a real injury concern, and the homeboy just broke his hip bone. And then you have Justin Herbert, who I also like a lot. I still have questions about him. He's kind of like a Ben Roethlisberger type, big, mobile, fast, big arm. But it's either one of those three. It's no one else. I like the quarterback crop next year.
What if
more
Tua?
than I do this year.
What if Tua slips to 15?
No.
I've heard a lot of people talking about, or a lot of analysts saying that he shouldn't even be looked at in the first round.
Well, yeah, I mean, with his serious injury concerns,
Before the injury,
that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, he was playing. You know, he had a lot of good things to be seen about him, but you know, I don't think he should come out of the draft. I think he should stay in Alabama next year, or at least one more year.
I think it just depends on where teams value him, man. If you're the Dolphins and you've been in love with Tua for 2 years now, and he's sitting there at 4, then you're probably still going to take him, man. I mean, you look at how important the quarterback position is Yeah, you're gonna gamble on a player like Tua Tagovailoa, and if the Panthers drafted him, I wouldn't hate the move, and I would say that I understand it. But I agree with Jeff Hodge, and Jeff Hodge just popped this up. It's the most recent comment. If you can't stay healthy in college, you're probably not going to stay healthy in the NFL. And it's a very reasonable criticism. I've never seen that problem go away. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
Back to the rebuild question, and let's tie it back to Brendan Herbert's call about Bradbury. Bradbury, in a contract year, looking like in the early part of the season that he was playing for a solid contract. Right now, the question is, do you want to re-sign him? And we know Brandon doesn't, right? But when you're talking about a rebuild, Cody, is the rebuild might be in the process in the future more than we want it to be, just given the amount of players that you have continued to reference over the last couple of weeks that are going to have to be either re-signed or replaced.
Yeah.
And, I mean, right now, I don't know if you make Shaq one of the highest paid linebackers in the league. I don't think I'd be happy with that.
No, I don't feel comfortable doing that either.
I don't feel comfortable. Let me see. Who is another name? Bradbury is one of those names.
Curtis Samuel's coming up.
Yeah, and how about this? Is Curtis Samuel giant disappointment?
Really?
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm so happy that you brought this up because I don't see how you could put that on him when you've had this quarterback situation that we had here in Carolina.
He's playing shook, dude. He's playing shook. He has dropped. He's dropped a couple of balls, and you watch him, and you watch his eyes, and he's worried about getting smashed.
So I did note that he is not making an effort to catch the ball with his hands. His body catching the football, and that's a no-no. You never do that. On top of that, dude,
and he's looking. He's hearing footsteps, dude.
Imagine if we had a quarterback that could hit Curtis Samuel in stride. Dude, you cannot blame Curtis Samuel for having a shot Cam Newton for the past 2 years and Kyle Allen that can't put the ball out in front of him. It's hard for me to blame Curtis Samuel for this.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on that train, and when you have a quarterback like, as we said, Kyle Allen, who is literally looking at two people, that is Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. Those are the only two reads he has. He is not a three-read person. And like you said, the stride thing, a lot of people are going to point to the fact that he had those two deep balls. Well, let's be honest. One of those was to DJ Moore. It was short, intermediate, that DJ Moore turned into 50 yards. But even the touchdown pass, did you see how long DJ Moore had to stand in the same spot?
Yeah, he almost got caught up with before the ball got there.
I mean, that ball should have been thrown a lot sooner than it was. He had that guy beat from the get-go.
Yeah, he should have caught it close to the back of the end zone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, even with that, a lot of people are going to point to, did you see that great deep pass? That's still what – I mean, I'm still happy that he got that. That was all DJ Moore just completely destroying, running an excellent route, destroying the defensive back. That was purely what that was. If that would have been a missed ball, if that would have been thrown any shorter, definitely would have been an interception, certainly. But that would have been a lot more questions raised on Kyle Allen had he missed that shot.
Yeah. Well, Samuel,
he dropped some balls. I'm saying this is all right. I will grant you all of that. But I've seen this is that I'm just wondering if he is a little limited in his skill set. And that he's too small. Like he can't go across the middle. He's shook when he goes across the middle. So you can't use him like in the slot. Is he a one-trick pony, I guess? Or is he like a little bit too much like Tavon Austin, who can do a little of everything but doesn't excel at anything?
That's a really good comparison right there.
I'm just worried. I just thought I had such high hopes for him. All we were saying is I drafted him in like the damn third round of my fantasy leagues. I just thought it was going to be
Gerald McCoy. I mean, he's not been disappointment, but he hasn't been living up to the hype. Certainly,
I did tell you not to sleep on DJ, though, didn't I? Tell you all that. That mug has been fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I think nobody can be. If you look at his numbers, I was looking at Next Gen Stats today. He's the fifth. He has the fifth highest yards in the NFL right now. He's beating Cooper Kupp. He's beating Keenan Allen. He's beating all these guys who were considered way better than him. And still think it's hilarious that the media has not recognized that he's an elite receiver.
He's on pace for 1,300 yards.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't remember last time we got any dude over 1,000.
Kelvin Benjamin in 2014. Maybe Ted Ginn.
I'll tell you this.
No, Ted Ginn never got 1,000.
If you put Curtis Samuel on another football team that has a quarterback that can actually hit the go routes, Curtis Samuel is a completely different player than the one you're talking about now.
Sean Jackson style.
I did like how they got him involved differently, though, in this past game.
Yeah.
As they used some motion, they actually got him the ball instead of just decoying him. I thought they did a good job with that. All right, let's go on to the next call. I do want to talk about Marty Herney's draft, but I'm wondering if Rich Kingston's going to bring it up. I know he tweeted us earlier. I'm looking at what he was talking about right now.
Panthers podcast, how y'all doing, man? What the living fuck did we just witness, man?
What's up, Jimmy?
That goddamn game. How in the fuck did we lose that damn game, man? Fire fucking Rivera, man. He was doing coaching pretty good this daggone game, man. And get rid of Joey Sly, man. I'm tired of this shit, man. Are you serious, man? You missed 2 damn extra points, and then you missed a damn field goal, man. You just left 5 points up out on damn field, man. 5 damn points, man. 5 damn points. I'm tired of this shit, man. I swear, man. Kyle Allen played pretty damn good. DJ Moore played his fucking ass off, man. And this is the shit that we get, man. Man, fuck this shit, man. Fire Ron Rivera. David Tepper, fire this motherfucker, man. He cannot coach the goddamn team.
I love the fire, man.
And the Saints are lucky as shit. No, they damn lucky, man. They are lucky as hell, man. That in a 3-4 defense scheme, get rid of that shit. Go back to the 4-3. And always remember, y'all. Always remember. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. I love it, man. I love it that people are pissed off. Like, this shit is not acceptable anymore. I mean, it really isn't, man. How many times are we going to have the same conversations over and over? At the end, a single play that caused us to lose, and now it's the kicker. I just want to remind people that we had Harrison Butker on our football team, and we let him go in favor of Graham Gano.
Yeah, is that a stain on Marty Herney as well?
Absolutely,
I agree. I think so.
You had a stud in the building, a young guy that was cheaper than Graham.
That
Gano.
you drafted. That you also drafted.
Yes, that we drafted. It's embarrassing, man. I echo that same sentiment, man. There is nothing that anyone could do to sell me on keeping Ron Rivera for another season.
So one of the things in this game that really stuck in my craw, as old Peter from Family Guy would say, guys, if we wouldn't have scored a touchdown going into the half, we would have been up here going ape shit about the clock management. Romo was saying this on the broadcast, which, by the way, Romo also highlighted that our offensive line is atrocious. He said, I don't think any quarterback could do well in this with this offensive line. But guys, you saw that we're marching down. If Christian McCaffrey doesn't make that big play, we're settling for a field goal, potentially letting the time run out, period. We could have had 3 plays there, and we got 1 off.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's embarrassing.
It was not, and I think that's on. I mean, I think that we used to always talk shit about Cam with that. Like, why isn't he being more urgent? But why aren't the guys in the headphones saying go, go, go?
Yeah. So before halftime, when we're trying to score, we get the ball back after the half. Yeah, there's no urgency, man. We've talked about for a long time that this offense could benefit from some hurry up. Get back to the line, see what formation the defense is in, and then let Cam Newton or the coordinator or whoever go from there. You have 15 seconds before the headset cuts off and you can't hear the coordinator anymore. So, I don't know, man. It's the same old Same old shit, different day, man.
All right. Well, let's go to the next call and see what they say.
Oh, and Joey Sly, you fucking bitch. Like, I swear to God, like, how do you miss
is Brandon
2 extra points and a fucking 20-something yard field goal? Like, I don't get it. And they made the damn field goal. Fuck this dude. I swear to God. Oh my God, Joey Sly. How hard is it to find a fucking field goal kicker? We have Graham Gano. He's a bum. And then we get Joey Sly, give us a little hope, but he's a bum. Like, I don't
Gano was a bum.
get it. I mean, obviously, it must be pretty damn hard if we can't get a fucking field goal kicker.
Well, to be fair to Joey Sly.
And James Bradbury. Well, James motherfucking Bradbury. You say what you want. He almost. Don't think I'm not going to talk about it because he wasn't caught. Ted Ginn towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter burnt his ass like 2-3 times, and one of them was dropped, and the other one was fucking just overthrown. Fuck him. And if y'all think he's good, then everybody can kiss my ass.
One of those was Deshaun or Dante Jackson. The other one was Eric Reed playing the deep zone. But
all right, what were you saying about Sly?
Sly, here's the part that he's been one of the least consistent as far as field goals. But when you compare him to Harrison Butker is 1 for 4 from 50 plus. Joey Sly is 6 for 9. So there's a difference between 25% and a 66 conversion rate on 50 plus. Now, when we start talking about the short to intermediate, Harrison Butker obviously has the win on those statistics, but I think there's too much. What you run into with a power kicker like Joey Sly is you typically have an issue with accuracy. Pat McAfee, that's the reason he went to be a punter instead of being a place kicker. He was a place kicker for West Virginia. He could kick that ball as far as anybody. Problem was, it was never, you couldn't really rely on him to have a 80% conversion rate as you would with a very precise kicker. So there's this give and take when it comes to those types of kickers. And so I think that's what we're seeing with Joey Sly is we've got that leg. When we talk about touchbacks, when you see that when he makes those 50-yarders, he still has an extra 10, 15, 20 yards he can actually go. I could see a situation where we put him in there if we're really desperate and we really want to get those 3 points towards the end of the half or something and allow him to kick a 70-yarder just to see. But, it's something that's you got to realize what you have when you have a kicker like Joey Sly.
All right, you guys cover me on this call, all right?
Yep.
What's up, CG?
And no call. Great. CK, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so it's just me and you right now. So let's talk about this. Could you foresee a scenario where we employed 2 kickers?
I could
have
see
Graham Gano be the short range to mid range guy, and then when you had to have a hammer leg, have Joey Sly. I mean, because I've been thinking about that. Some people talk about like dual quarterback systems, where they do it a lot in college, where they'll have 2 quarterbacks. Essentially, they'll rotate them in and out. I wonder why you don't see that with more positions. And did you think that we could do something like that for kicker?
I think that really messes with somebody's head. To be honest with you, because kicking is all about your mindset. Not all about it; you have to have talent too, but a lot to do with your mindset. And I think that when you get into a kicker's head like that's why they call timeouts to freeze the kicker, stuff like that. I don't think that would work. Plus, I'd much rather use that extra roster spot for a 4th or 5th running back we're never going to use.
Yeah, we're never going to use.
Never going to use.
But to Cody's point, here's what I'll talk about. They talk about kicking being a mental game, and every camera shot was cut into Joey Sly sitting by himself on the bench, and all by himself the entire time. Can you not I could personally see where even having a second kicker just to be there for the moral, just being able to say, hey, man, I've been there. These are not easy situations. Being a kicker is one of the loneliest positions in the NFL because nobody else can do it. Nobody's going to understand what it takes, what type of precision it's going to take to do that type of thing unless you've been a kicker like that. And, maybe there is something to be said from a mental standpoint and the opposite of Greg's argument. I don't know.
Yeah. Tony, as soon as you walked away, the call stopped.
What?
It just said
Nova Black calling immediately after the game was over with and whatnot. It was a good game, but I expected us to play the Saints close. We always do play the Saints close. DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, can I say more? I mean, great day. These guys went in today. But guess what? All that work Christian McCaffrey put in, all them yards and all of that right there, and he gaining, and all of that MVP chant he getting, and we still losing. Guess what? He's sitting on the bench over there thinking, dang, I'm over here putting it all on the line and we still losing. But guess what? He's feeling exactly what Cam Newton felt the last 7-8 years. And that's all I got to say about that. Another loss from the belt. You guys keep pounding, and keep the podcast pumping. Love y'all.
Man, glad to have you back, Nova Black. He said he had been checked out of football. I saw him say that on Twitter. It's glad to have you back. Let's keep going.
Hey, y'all. This is Alex up here in Hickory.
What's up, Alex?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I didn't even listen to the post game today. I'm sure.
Don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
Bummed about losing that right at the end.
We didn't do it.
I am too. But I mean, overall, it's a pretty good game. It was entertaining at the very least. But since I'm sitting here sad and ready to kind of crash out and go to bed, I generally like to hop on and check out, individual stats on NFL.com. Make sure C-Mac is still, number one in rushing and all-purpose yards, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, I was going through the receivers, and I noticed, I don't know if I've ever seen this, the top 5 receivers in the NFL right now are Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, and DJ Moore. And that's based off of yardage, right? That is all receivers from the NFC South, which I thought was kind of crazy. Blew my mind. And also awesome for DJ. He's really been playing well lately. I don't have anything other to say than that, but I just thought that was that's kind of an interesting stat to see that all of these receivers from our division are the ones that are racking up the most yards. Anyways, keep pounding.
All right, man. I think that continues to show how well DJ Moore has been quietly playing. And again, I think he's been a benefactor of a quarterback that they're working to one receiver type. They know who that's his go-to guy right now. And like you guys were saying about Curtis Samuel, he has not been the benefactor of that.
And shout out to Brandon Herbert in the chat room. DJ Moore ain't getting enough credit. He played with one arm. So much respect for that, man. Yeah, he's been dealing with an elbow injury on, I believe, his left arm. I don't remember which arm it is, but yeah, DJ Moore has been balling out. And I think
an ankle injury.
Yeah, he's been hurt. And I don't remember who made the point, but one of you guys said, Kyle Allen's a one-read guy. So a lot of those, but Norv Turner, I mean, remember how much of a crush Norv Turner had on DJ Moore. So DJ Moore, he really is the first option, the first read on a lot of these plays. And that does benefit DJ Moore. And I do want to make sure I give him credit because I was hard on him, and rightfully so, last year and in training camp, where I feel like his route running really did leave a lot to be desired. I mean, he wasn't making a lot of separation, wasn't running back to the football, on comeback routes, and he has really made a marked improvement. He's improved his game a lot. So, yeah, he absolutely deserves a ton of credit for the type of season that he's having right now, even with a backup quarterback, no less.
All right, let's see. Is there no audio with this call? It's just a blank call. All right.
Hi guys, Rich in London.
How you doing, Rich?
Everybody. There you go. That's simple.
He's got a
Campbell's
gnarly
going
paintball
anywhere.
injury right
Tepper
now.
loves him. Tepper needs him. CMC, Luke, a few others. Looks like Poe might be done. If it's a torn quad, he's going to be out a year. There's no way they're going to hold on to him.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this.
That's a shame because he started to look much better this year. I'm not going to say it's rebuild, but there's a lot of rebuilding to do for next year. I think we need most of the D-line, but just coaching. He needs to not get rid of them now. They'll last the season, but we've been talking about this. I've been phoning into you for the last 2 seasons, and probably half my calls start with, it's the coaching. Completely with you, Cody. You'll get this pre-show. Anyway, great job as always, guys. And let's see where we go from here. Throw some names around, though. I don't, the Baltimore assistant coach, whose name escapes me right now.
Greg Roman. That's Greg's
but
dude.
He's going to be hot stuff. Would probably work well with Cam for a running offense, if that's what we're going to do. And also, Cody, I know it's your neck of the woods. Draft picks. We're getting mocked Grant Delpit quite a lot, but I think right now there's a whole host of issues. And look how great we are at picking safeties. Anyway, keep having them. Like.
Let's start with Don Terry. Let's start with Don Terry Poe, a guy who was not adored by Carolina Panther fans last year. Got a 3-year deal. We knew that we weren't going to be able to get out of it this year, but he then stepped in and has played rather well. I think he's been he's just fit this scheme a lot better. But a torn quad is the truth, so that does seem like the end of the road for Don Terry Poe there. Also, another big injury that hurts this team, Greg Van Roten with a serious, some sort of toe or something, foot, or another big loss for a line. Really, 2 of the best guys that we've had so far this year in some ways. And Roten has just been okay. He's not even been okay. So what does this do to our team? And is Trey Turner not good anymore?
Well, I do want to start by saying this. That we had an offensive line rotation, or the formation that we had after Roten got hurt. It was the lineup that I've been wanting to see forever. And that's Greg Little at left tackle, Darrell Williams at left guard, then Paradis, then Trey Turner at right guard, followed by Moton on the right side. And I feel like at the end of the game, we actually looked okay in that scenario, and it bolsters that Darrell Williams is better as a guard. But I don't know, man. I'm very, Don Terry Poe. Yeah, I kind of agree with CK, man. This kind of feels like he's played his last snap for Carolina. He was kind of disappointing for a little while, and he was having a good year this year. But yeah, we've saved a lot of money from moving on from him. And I don't believe Don Terry Poe is irreplaceable. So, yeah, it sucks, man. I as bad as it sounds, I'm kind of more hopeful about our offensive line going forward without Van Roten, because it means you're going to be able to play Trey Turner and Darrell Williams at the same time. So, yeah, it's unfortunate.
To the rest of the guys, is Trey Turner living on his reputation?
But knowing Ron Rivera, probably. That's
I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't been, was Turner or Norwell? We chose Turner. Now, Norwell has been trash and hurt and IR in Jacksonville, so it's not like that would have worked. I don't know. I see Trey Turner on the ass end of some plays now, and I don't ever remember seeing him like that.
A lot of penalties, too.
Yeah.
A lot of real stupid penalties.
And Greg Little has been awful since he's come back.
I think he's been more undisciplined, is my thing. Okay?
And he is a rookie. Yeah, and he missed a lot of time.
And that's when I said, in the game, I said, this feels like this game is a little big for him. Coming and playing in the Superdome. But let's be honest, playing in New Orleans is a tough place to play on offense. Like, it is a tough place to play for anybody, much less a rookie coming back off of an injury like he was suffering, where he has only gotten, 2, maybe 3 starts in his career by that point. That's a tough thing to do, especially with such a close game where the fans are in it the entire time. That is a tough thing for even veterans, but definitely a rookie. So, I mean, I'll give him somewhat of a benefit of the doubt there. But, yeah, I mean, there's still things that, that concern you when it comes to him. I think that I'm still rooting for him. I have a good feeling about his abilities because he does remind me a lot now in the positives and negatives of Michael Orr. But hopefully it doesn't come to that same conclusion like Michael's did. But
Chef Jeff saying, watching the game's over, everyone on the line getting beat, and penalties, like echoing what you're saying, Cody. Let's go on to the next call.
Panthers podcast, how y'all doing?
What's up, G?
Cavassier.
What's up, G?
Calm down. I know the last time I called you guys, it was after the game, and I was so pissed off. And yes, I'm still saying fire Ron Rivera. I'm still saying that. I'm going to ask you guys a question. I keep seeing this shit on Facebook, but I don't know if it's true or not. For some weird reason, I keep seeing that they saying the Panthers are going to sign Colin Kaepernick. Me personally, I don't think the shit is damn true. I really don't. I mean, I would love for him to come to Carolina. I really do, because they said his last 2 years or last year he had horrible damn stats or whatever. But see, he was playing underneath that damn dude. What's that dude's name? I forgot his damn name. The damn dude who used to coach the damn
Harbaugh, maybe
Eagles or whatever.
Oh,
you know
no,
what I'm
Chip
saying?
Kelly,
But
maybe.
Not time
Chip
about the
Kelly.
He's not coming to Carolina,
Yeah.
man. You know what I'm saying? I still got hope that we will at least have a winning record when the season is over. I don't see us going to the playoffs, unfortunately. I mean, unless Seattle and Minnesota fall off the face of the earth, I don't see it. We need to get rid of our damn kicker, Joey Sly. I used to like him, man, but he's horrible. Even when Gano gets healthy, we need to get rid of Gano too, man. I mean, so anyway, give me you guys' thoughts on that. And always remember, y'all, keep pounding.
I don't think Kaepernick's the answer.
Yeah.
Unless you're using him for a 1-year stopgap next season. And on top of that, I think it's fair. I think that everybody will get upset with this because, look, I'm actually pro-social justice warriors. I'm okay with players using their platform. But we do have to recognize whoever Colin Kaepernick goes to, it will be a circus.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even being racist. It will just be a circus.
Well,
See,
I don't
here's the
think.
problem.
Good.
Sorry, I was just saying, here's my issue with it, and I'll make this quick. It has zero to do with that. Number one, I just didn't like the cat before he even did the kneeling stuff. That doesn't, that's an argument or a discussion for something that's not here, I think. But my issue is, why in the world would you gamble on a guy who was bad without injury when you have a Cam Newton who had a tough time because of injury?
Add to that hasn't played in 3 years.
Exactly. That hasn't played in 3 years, who's going to cause them.
Well, what if you didn't have Cam, though?
That's what I'm saying. That's dependent upon what our organization wants to do. If we're getting rid of Cam this year and we're going to be basically throwing the season for 2020 because we want to try to get somebody like like a good old Clemson boy, it's then sure, I could see the only situation there. But why in the world would you get? I mean, in the price tag that Kaepernick's going to try to bring is going to be astronomical. If you're going to go that route, you're not going for success. You're going for somebody as a stopgap measure, like you said, Tony. And you might as well just go ahead and keep Kyle Allen on the roster because he's going to cost way less than Kaepernick's going to cost.
Well, yeah, I agree with everything you just said about that. I don't want Kaepernick on this team. It is going to be just a circus. And once again, this has nothing to do with the social injustice stuff. This has to do with me looking at him as a player and his attitude that he has now. And I'm definitely going to talk about this stuff later. But let's just say for right now, I don't think Kaepernick is the answer for this team.
I just think it's going to be so hard for a team. Maybe the only team that could pull it off would be the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Where they could say this is we ain't talking anything about this anymore. Right? And I just feel like at least this is what we've seen over the Colin Kaepernick's story had gone away. The NFL botches everything. What about, how is this such a successful league when they can't do anything fucking right? They can't get the replay shit right. They can't get the catch right. They can't get the challenges right. They can't get anything right. And they certainly haven't been able to get anything with player problems right in the last decade, whether it goes back to the punching thing with Greg Hardy and who was the Ray Rice. Like, they've just stumbled and fumbled through every fucking issue. And then they got off the hook with this Kaepernick deal, and then they go and make it a damn what idiots they are, the NFL.
Well, you're right. It was done with the Kaepernick deal, but I'm pretty sure that was part of the collective bargaining agreement, or not? Excuse me, collective bargaining. The NDA that he signed was that he had to have come back into the fold at some point in time, or given a chance to come back in the fold at some point in time.
Oh, okay. So there's some
I
political.
don't know about that, but I'm willing to bet there's something.
I've heard too that also if he's like if he signs with the NFL or with a team, that it would like nullify some of the lawsuit shit. I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. Yeah. I do want to bring this up though because before I forget, Rich Kingston. In his call, I hope you're recovering from that gnarly paintball wound you got in the shoulder. It just keeps getting uglier and uglier. Paintballs hurt, dude. He brought this up on Twitter that the Panthers really have not been good in round 3. And listen to the last. I'm going to keep reading it back till we find a good round 3 pick. All right? Okay. Last year, Will Grier. The year before that, Rashawn Golden. The year before that, Deshaun Hall. The year before that, Daryl Worley. No third pick the year before that. We traded up to get Devin Funchess. Remember, we traded our third to get Devin Funchess. The last time we've had a good third-round pick, 2014, Trey Turner.
Well, you could make the argument you don't know about Will Grier yet. So, I mean, that may not be a bust.
You're right. We don't know about him.
How about this? Daryl Worley is playing well for the Raiders. Raiders fans rave about him.
Man, fuck Daryl Worley. That dude's a dumbass.
Well, how about this? Our coaches don't know what to do with talent if it's slapped.
He also passed out in his car in the middle of an intersection.
No one's defending that. But, I think it kind of lends to a point that a lot of these players, who knows if Cameron Artis-Payne could have had a career in the NFL. He probably could have, but instead he had no film by the time his career was done here in Carolina to warrant someone else actually taking him on to be a running back. So I don't know, but your point does stand though. We're bad in the third round, and that's why I believe Marty Hurney did a good job at the start of this year. I like the free agent picks. I like a good bit of the draft picks. But yeah, it's time to rip off the Band-Aid completely. I have no problem moving on to a different GM, different coach, brand new everything. If we're going to redo it right.
Hey, I do want to ask real quick though, just talking about Will Grier, at what point with maybe like where we know our season's going and like say Kyle Allen goes out there the next game and he throws 4 interceptions against the Redskins, at what point do we say, okay, the season's over, let's give Will Grier a chance?
I thought that was last week or the week before with Atlanta.
But
I didn't watch that game.
Don't worry. He had 4 picks, and 2 of them were in the red zone.
Oh, okay, yeah. Didn't watch that game, so okay.
I think that was the game, but then Ron Rivera has come out and said, he said, we're developing 1 young quarterback already. No need to develop 2. He literally said that.
Why draft him then?
Yeah.
So why draft him?
It's bullshit. I know. I mean, I can't say, I like this draft so much other than that pick. And I kept saying, too, is that Will Grier could have been a 4th or a 5th round pick. And then you get these people come back. And then I've heard people say that is like, nah, according to Marty Hurney, they had him, teams had him graded as a number 1 for a 1st round pick. And let me tell you this, is that's just GMs blowing smoke up your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, of course, I would probably say we have every player graded as a number 1. That's not even true. That's not true. Will Grier is not a number 1 pick like a first round pick quarterback. He's not a third round pick. And I'm worried about his age, dude. He's 25. You know,
still not so bad. I mean, at the rate they're going right now, he has another 20 years almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he won't play though until he's getting Social Security.
Maybe.
All right, next call. Well,
What's
actually,
up,
no.
T3
I want to
fan?
say this. Does anybody else want to comment on the Will Grier thing?
I mean, he should have been on. It should have been on the field. But why are you not gonna? Why are you not gonna play Will Grier? After the performance.
But Kyle Allen did have a great game though in this last game, and I got the stats up. Is my man threw no picks this week?
Yeah, that was a good game.
And he had 200. He was 23 for 36, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, and we saw that offensive line was freaking atrocious, dude.
I just don't like the argument of, well, if you play them too soon, you're going to ruin their development. Yeah, well, a bunch of quarterbacks had really bad first years. Peyton Manning had a really bad first year in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first year isn't an indicator of what a quarterback is capable of being. I really like Dwayne Haskins. Now, it's unfortunate for him he's in Washington, but, you know, you don't
And he
throw
looks
the
like a
baby out with the
dumbass, dude.
bathwater.
Wait, Washington's not good?
Yeah, it turns out they're not good. But Dwayne Haskins has the potential to be a really good quarterback.
Yeah, potential.
People
Probably
giving
won't.
up on him already. They're already saying Redskins are moving on.
I don't think the owner wanted to draft him.
Well, no, that was the thing. The owner wanted to draft him, but apparently a bunch of the coaches didn't.
Coaches didn't.
Yeah, so the owner, dude, Dan Snyder is such a piece
Yeah,
of
that's the
trash.
worst run organization in the history of the world, probably.
It's got to be up there.
Yeah, it's top 5. Right, the Bengals being another one. Oh,
Chef
wait, hold
Jeff
on.
again.
Nope.
What's up, C3 fan? Chef Jeff here.
Cousin.
Calling in about 7:30 on Tuesday. Can't wait for tonight's show. Few things I wanted to bring up, which it's a late call, so I'm assuming y'all probably already have talked about them in the podcast. But I'm still ready to get rid of Ron. I'm still ready to get rid of Norv. He did call a pretty decent game up until we got to the red zone. I do understand not wanting Kyle Allen to throw the ball too much because of his, previous red zone problems. But, I mean, he had the hot hand Sunday. And running Christian McCaffrey up the gut like that after just watching it not work all season long on the goal line just shows me that they have the game has passed North by. And Ron, I'm glad to see the guys fight for him. I still would like to see him gone only because I know we can't keep him around as a defensive coordinator. And I mean, he is getting better. He does have flaws, tons of them, but the guys do play for him, and he has yet to lose that locker room. I'm scared that we will not be able to find a better coach. Because let's be honest, he is a top 10 coach.
Oh, God, you're about to make your
And the
cousin so
chances of
mad.
us going out there and finding one better as a head coach is going to be pretty slim. I'm willing to take that risk. But I'm starting to feel more and more like Dave Tepper might just run this back next year. I would like to see him run it back, get rid of Norv, and bring in a young offensive coordinator, and maybe let Ron run it back one more time.
But
Maybe
our
not.
offense has been pretty good
like I
this
said,
year,
still
though.
kind of torn on that a little bit.
We're like 26.
I wish he would have been fired last year just because of the way Cam Newton was treated at the end of the year. Leaving him out there on the field for those last games, it very well could have taken two or 3 years off of his career, off the longevity of his career. Let's be honest. That was a fireable offense. And the 2 games at the beginning of the year, I don't care what he says. He knew the foot was injured. Cam Newton just tried to throw him a bone in his little video saying, I hid it from him. No, he didn't. They knew. He said that he was good, which any player is going to say. And Ron, just went out there with them, thinking, oh, this got to be our best chance to win. And I don't know. Marty Herney's off season.
You got cut off. Here it goes.
Jeff again. Got cut off. But, yeah, it's Marty Herney's off season is starting to not look very good. He's still, just showing. We just waived Rashawn Golden, another third-round pick. So he's great at first round and even some second round picks, but Marty just cannot evaluate talent in the later rounds. It's becoming these same
I
issues
think that's partially
over and
on
over
Ron,
and over.
too.
Tackling, play calling, and just lack of time management. Even though we hired a time management coach, which is awfully weird to me.
That is crazy.
The loss this weekend was such a heartbreaker. I just knew they were going to go down there and win. So I mentioned it last week in my call. And they just, we can blame it on Joey Sly. Yes, because he missed the kick and left 5 points on the field, but Drew Brees would have went down there and scored a touchdown and won the game. Let's not kid ourselves. Ron Rivera's defense is shit.
You needed to score a touchdown.
Defense is shit. I get Reed was terrible in coverage, great against the run, terrible in coverage, but he is playing hurt, and he was playing hurt before he got hurt in the third quarter. That's no excuse, but my problem is, why is his backup still Colin Jones? Why? Can we not find anybody else
to
play that
Ron's
position?
balls, dude.
And like I said, we released Rashawn Golden. I'm sure if Ron is back next year, he will be back at some point in time. They'll sign him to the practice squad and bring him back on the team at some point, because that's what Ron loves to do. But
if he did that,
anyway,
who Golden?
Yeah.
You listening tonight?
No, they're on
Yes,
bad
I don't really have
terms
any
right
questions.
now.
It was more about statements. But keep pounding, guys.
All right, thanks,
And
Jeff. So let's do this. Let me ask you this. Okay, go ahead, CK.
You may have already been getting ready to touch on this, but the question about whether the players still like Ron Rivera. I get an uneasy feeling. I don't see the locker room on his side anymore. Like you brought up the Brian Burns thing. We see Rashawn Golden's situation. I think they were just trying to cut a cancer around. A lot of people are wondering why he didn't play. I think from day one, or at least from the end of last year, beginning of this year, he has shown distaste for the organization. He hasn't wanted to be here. And then when he got cut, guess what? He said, God works in mysterious ways. Thank you, or amen. Or just,
What, Golden said that?
Yeah, on his Twitter.
He also supposedly just came out that he walked off of a practice upset one day.
Yeah, and he's a lot of people have said that he's been less enthusiastic about being with this organization. And when I read that tweet, the way that I read it was not things will work out. This will be cannon fodder for later on in my life or something like that. Instead, I read it like, it's about freaking time I'm not tied down to this organization anymore.
He wasn't that good, though.
Yeah, no.
We wanted him to be good. We wanted him to. Mike, okay, keep going.
Well, I was just saying, but my biggest thing is I just don't know that we can say that he hasn't lost the locker room, because when I listen to the interviews, when I listen to everything else, obviously when we're winning, it's a different story, but when we're losing, it doesn't feel like these guys are fighting for one another. It just doesn't feel that way. Right. It doesn't
certain
feel
frustration in that locker room. You can hear it in Greg Olson's comments.
Greg Olson's a big part of it. Greg Olson's like, when I listened to his, even when we were losing before, I don't think I've ever seen Greg Olson feel as down about an organization, or this organization in particular, as I have this year. And it's odd, because you're usually looking to him to be the one to bring the spirited uplifting, saying, listen, this is not the end. We'll be able to get back to it. But now it just feels like he's just repeating the same stuff. He's just, rinse and repeat.
Gerald McCoy also frustrated.
Real quick shout out to Darius Jones, who was in our chat room earlier. And he did mention this too, that, and I didn't know this, Brian Burns' brother has been very active on Twitter talking about how much of a travesty it is that Brian Burns isn't playing more snaps. He's been very vocal about it. But I kind of think this Rashawn Golden thing, it kind of goes back to, I really do think that there is a culture in Carolina where there are players that just don't get their just due play time. I mean, if he was a third-round pick, why would you draft him to never, ever play him? It doesn't. And then when you do play him, he gets burned. I don't know. It has not been a good look. I do think it's indicative of a larger problem that players are frustrated. Why aren't you giving us snaps? I mean, it's like Ron Rivera doesn't know what to do with the talent on this football team. And it's an issue. It's a big issue. It's been an issue. And it's not getting better with time. So I don't know. I certainly wish him the best. I don't think he's a tremendous talent, but if Rashawn goes and balls out somewhere else, you know why.
Yeah. In defense of Ron Rivera, right, is that this team has had Kyle Allen, and like you guys pointed out, has been one play away from winning a lot of games this year. Now, I don't want to just say, close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades. So I don't want to give that too much credence. But to me, I'm going to ask you all this, is that imagine who is the person out of the three that has disappointed you the most this season? Like you are most upset. Ron Rivera, Norv Turner, Marty Herney.
Ron Rivera. And you think, here's my part to that though, and forgive me, I keep on kind of hogging the spotlight, guys, but my focus on this is the reason we've been in the games. Tell me what that reason is. It's because our offense, Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, it's not a great offense, but it's still, that's the reason a lot of times. Our defense has not been the reason we've been in these games. If anything, we've been in these games in spite of our defense.
Yeah.
Right? What is Ron Rivera doing right now? He's playing he's calling the defensive plays. He's the one running the defense, essentially. Eric Washington's there to, offer during practice and everything, but he's basically at Ron's beck and call.
And the defense is not sharp. They're not sharp.
Not at all.
And Norv has dialed down the offense so that Kyle Allen doesn't have to read through 3 different reads before he throws the ball to allow him to get the ball out quicker to make sure that the offensive line isn't, victimized as it often is. So I think out of all 3, I think there's clear evidence to show Ron Rivera isn't the reason we've been within plays of winning. We've been within plays of winning in spite of Ron Rivera.
I agree. I'm to the point is that this defense just simply should look better under Ron Rivera. Like right now, I wouldn't even hire him as a defensive coordinator.
No,
I don't know.
I have no. Let's be honest. As a defensive guy, he's old school. He has not had an answer for these high-powered offenses yet.
That's true.
Yeah, and like Cody has always said, he's just gotten his ass handed to him by the Shanahan kid every time. All right, you got something, Greg?
Yeah, real quick. 2 things I want to touch on with this call. The part about Cam Newton taking the fall for Ron Rivera and telling him that he, he said that he was okay. That's all speculation. We don't know any of that, and I get where it's coming from because it's probably from frustration, but we have no evidence. I mean, and do you guys have any evidence of that? That Cam was lying, saying that he was okay, excuse me, he said that he lied. So that way it would help Ron Rivera. Do you have any evidence that that's not true, that he's just helping Ron Rivera out? Because I think that's just speculation. We've got to believe what they say. We have no evidence to back anything else up.
I mean, I think Cam was pretty clear that he was the one hiding this injury.
Right, and there's no way Ron could know how he felt. Okay, and 2, I want to touch on Joey Slight is the reason we lost this game. If you think otherwise, I'll talk with you about it. You can't leave 5 points on the board and lose by 3. And you can say, well, Drew Brees would have gone down and scored a touchdown. Well, guess what? They didn't go down and score a touchdown. So you can't say they would have. And I would feel a whole lot better being up 5, having to make them score a touchdown, than being tied and losing the game to a field goal. Just saying. So Joey Slide did lose that game for us. I hate to put it on one guy, but sorry, man. he lost the game.
He did. He absolutely did.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
So to the defense.
Hey. You know who it is.
G
What's
baby.
Gucci, fellas? It's G baby. Over here in a blizzard. But it's all good. I'm knee deep. But it's
In a
all
blizzard.
good because it's another fucking day. I want to talk about. I got like 3 segments here. This is gonna be. I'm calling it at least 3 motherfucking times. I'm high as hell and I got a lot on my motherfucking mind. I want to talk about our inability to develop young talent because it's a big one, fellas. It's a big one. We just released Golden. All right. Now, when I say us taking does matter, it does. But I'm gonna get into that in a second. I'm gonna tell you guys who our draft picks were. Okay. From here, let's see what I got here. I got everything. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna put that shit on pause. Let's talk about Brian Burns. Okay. Despite playing only 45% of the team's defensive snaps and playing in 8 games, Brian Burns has totaled 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 12 QB hits, and 4 tackles for loss. I want you guys to let that fucking sink in. This is less than half. He's playing less than half of the defensive snaps, and he's got 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 12 QB hits, and 4 tackles for loss. The dude's a fucking stud. He literally pressures the QB every single time he's in the game. Why isn't this motherfucker playing?
BRB, fellas.
This is your first round draft pick and he doesn't play? You're trying to tell me your first round draft pick is playing underneath 50% of the fucking snap count? That's blasphemy. It's so bad. Brian Burns' brother, okay, is on Twitter, right? Brian Burns' brother on Twitter says Brian Burns deserves more fucking playing time, period. He plays more. What did he say? He plays more. We win. Don't at me, all right? That's what he says. He plays more when we win. Or, yeah, whatever. You got Brian Burns' brother on Twitter calling the fucking Panthers out. This shit's bullshit, yo. Brian Burns should be in every single fucking play. It's crazy. And this is a fan of the Carolina Panthers, okay? Check K1 Short, right? This is what he says to K1 Short. He says, can you at least tell Ron to play Burns instead of F.A. and Christian Miller? Burns is one of our best defensive pass rushers. He ain't even playing. And guess what KK said? He said, I called up there and they put him in. Good call by.
All right, let's keep going with his call.
All right, it's G baby. As I was saying, even KK Short has a problem with Brian Burns not even being on the field. This fucking blasphemy, man. Like, it just blows my mind on how we don't have our own personnel, man. It's like, why is it one about it? And Christian Miller getting more playing time than the person you drafted in the first round. Please, somebody tell me an answer. If you don't got an answer, like, please tell me. I'll be waiting. Because that shit don't make no sense. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. And since you're drafting Golden in the 3rd round, and how do you expect him to play? You didn't even fucking play him. Like, how are you going to get better if you don't fucking develop him? And you don't get his time time. He fucks up on a play and you want to release him? Like, come on. This season's a wash. Like, I don't even like watching the Carolina Panthers anymore, yo. The only reason why I even like the goddamn game is because of fucking white chocolate. The white chocolate. Like, god damn. Yes, Coach Greg, Tony, Chantel. No. It's fucking coaching. It is coaching. Cody's been right since the get-go. That's why he called it. He's absolutely right.
All right, we're going to go on to the next call. I can't hear him anymore.
Sorry, back to what I was saying. back to the fucking draft picks, okay? You got Christian Miller. You got George Scarlett, which you don't even play. But you'll go out and you'll go sign a Mike Davis. Like, what the fuck? Then you got Dennis Daly, and then you got Terry Godwin, as I was saying. Terry Godwin was a 5-star recruit out of fucking high school and went to Georgia. He was nice. And did you also know that was one of Cam Newton's really good friends, okay? That was one of Cam's good friends, and you guys let him go. For what? For what? He had a rapport with Cam, and he was actually a good returner, and we don't have a fucking returner. Makes no sense, right? Yeah, I fucking know. But this is what I do want to talk about. That bad boy, Cam Newton, supporting all them motherfucking kids. And guess who was there? And it shocked the hell out of me. David Tepper was there. And he was laughing with Cam, having a good time with Cam. And you don't, bro, Cam said he needed that. All of them kids supporting Cam Newton, wearing their jerseys, asking him to sign that shit in front of David Tepper. You don't think that meant a lot? You don't think Tepper seen that shit? All them kids? All them kids that are in the stands that used to get game balls after every single time they scored, they don't get that shit no more. Like, you fellas, I'm a true Carolina Panthers fan, yo. This shit means a lot to me, yo. I'm 15 years deep in this shit. When they lose, my week depends on that shit. Like, my girl hates football because she knows if we lose, don't fuck with me. Like, this shit means everything to me, man. Like, Cam means everything to this team. God, these dumbass motherfuckers, man. Release Golden. So I need to know what you guys think. Let me know. You know, I'll be fucking listening. I've been ranting. I'm high. I don't give a fuck. I live that colorful life.
I think the point that I think that is worth the
C3 podcast, baby.
Thank you, man.
Represent G baby with that passion.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Great calls, and I think he probably has another one still in the hole. But if anything, I don't want to. We've talked a lot about what was in those calls already. But for me, I do think there's a real argument that one of Rivera's greatest weaknesses historically has been developing players. And I used to always say this several years ago, and we haven't had to talk about it as much lately, but he does better at coaching veterans. You know, he's better. You know, those defenses, remember when we had, who were the guys that we brought in, those retreads? We had Mike Mitchell. We had this, there was Draughton, something, God, what was his name? But these guys that, what I feel like is Ron might not be the best with teaching young people.
No, he really isn't. It's a problem, man. Listen, G Baby, CZ, G Cavassier, Nova Black, they're all saying the same thing, man. There is a problem with Ron Rivera not playing young players, not putting your young, talented guys on the football field, and it's detrimental to their entire career.
And what we've done in the special teams return game is just a damn travesty. Yeah, we have not been able to figure this out. Again, we have these things that we just can't figure out. We can't figure out the offensive line. We can't figure out the punt. It's just perpetual problems in those areas. Here's his third call.
Hey, it's me again. I want to talk about this team a little bit more because I got a lot on my fucking mind. Where do I begin? I want to begin with this defense. You guys, it's the 3-4. I'm telling you. That shit, and I had a feeling like when we were switching over to from a 4-3 to the 3-4, it didn't make sense to me because you got players that have been playing in the 4-3 defense since day one. And if we don't have big enough, I'm telling you, they're able to run the ball because we don't have big enough players to set the edge and play the 3-4. It makes no sense. It makes no fucking sense. And I'm going to tell you right now, and it pissed me off, losing Thomas Davis was the biggest mistake the Carolina Panthers have ever made. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That was the heart and soul of our goddamn defense, yo. When I watch Thomas Davis play for the Chargers, this dude's knocking pitches out, yo, still. And the run defense coming up and smacking motherfuckers. We're missing that shit. We're too fucking finesse, fellas. We're soft. Yeah, I said it. We're soft as sharpening tissue paper, man. We're fucking soft. We're soft. And that's why our run defense and our defense is playing like straight trash. Let's talk about the game now. I mean, damn, we almost pulled that off. Yeah, I bet you guys wish we had Gano now. See, this season's been a wash since the get-go. Who did we lose? The very first player we lost was Graham Gano. Do you know how big that was?
No.
You don't think Graham Gano could have made those extra point kicks? Like, come on. He made a 63-yarder. Like, that was big. And then we lose Cam? Like, how can you have any... Oh, God, man. This season, man. And then I watched Leonard. My God! Oh, my God! Does that not remind you of 2015 Cam Newton? Like, you don't think Cam Newton's watching this shit? Like, I'm telling you right now, this is why I said we haven't seen the best of Cam Newton, because this dude is hungry, fellas. I'm telling you, he's well-rested. He's going to be well-rested. He's going to put in that work. That's one thing about Cam Newton. He puts in that fucking work. And that's why I'm saying it would be the biggest mistake Carolina's ever made letting him go. We cannot let go of Cam Newton. But I'm done ranting. I love this podcast, fellas. Hey.
We love you, brother. We love you. Next call.
Hey, C3 Sam. Josh from Mac. Hope everyone's having a great night, a great week.
What's up, Josh?
Celebrate it. Happy motherfucking Thanksgiving. Yeah, another disappointing loss on Sunday. A loss that it sucked because it came right down to the end, and we kind of got, that little tease. Oh my God, we might do it. Which kind of would have been the last strand keeping us in, but and then on top of that, Don Terry Poe's done for the rest of the year. Joey Sly missing 2 extra points and a field goal in a game we ended up losing by a field goal. And then, of course, the last play of the Saints drive right before the field goal where the pass play to Michael Thomas that got them in, I believe it was Michael Thomas, that got them in field goal range was against none other than James Bradbury. Kind of weird because that usually isn't allowed by him, or at least, not without him. I mean, he was way off, which, from what I've seen is kind of rare. And I guess my only real concern is that this is going to kind of quiet down some of the anti-Ron crowd. But really, the fact that this season is so up and down, the fact that some weeks we seem to compete with some of the best of the best, and then there's weeks where we just get the doors blown off us. And then there's weeks where Green Bay needs the rest to squeak by, and then weeks later looks like ass on national television, because that's what they looked like the other night. Total frickin' ass. It's pretty clear to me that the Niners and the Seahawks are driver's seat teams in the NFC, and everybody else is just kind of wishing, hoping, praying. There's nothing that would better their chances against those two teams in the playoffs, because let's face it, one of those is going to be a wild card team. There's very real chance that we're looking at a 12 or 13 win team being a wild card team this year. Let that sink in.
Too bad we're not AFC.
Yeah, it's just more inconsistency, and like I said, at times it looked good, and then there were times things just didn't look good in that game. So, not to mention the reason we were competitive. Hey guys, Josh again, and but yeah, we were really, really helped out by the Saints' offense. I believe it was their offense just piling penalties onto themselves. By halftime, it was around, or no, it was after halftime. It was towards the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. The Saints had racked up like 116 yards in penalties against themselves. And you really break it down in the grand scheme of things, and that's a touchdown drive, basically, in and of itself. That's a big reason we were left in it, and yeah, I guess there's some people who are happy that we kind of went toe-to-toe, head-to-head with a team that's a contender, but I'm not. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with settling. I'm not happy with a 5-6 team. I'm not happy with a coaching staff that has just looked bad since the critical staff members that were below our coordinators and the coordinators themselves are gone. Look, let's face it, since Josh McDermott's been gone, the defense hasn't looked right. And Shula and Turner, I mean, we've got guys who are doing things the old school way with a very modern looking roster. It shouldn't be a wonder why there's inconsistency here, because the old way of doing things isn't working anymore. It's just not. You know, there's all these people who go, well, who do you want to pick up if we let Ron go? Well, a quick list of names: Stu Staley, Eric Bynamy, Lincoln Riley's one, Kevin Stefanski. There's plenty of guys out there who are on the cusp of leaving their offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator job. Chris Richards. There's plenty of guys. Who? It's like they forget that, like, you don't really go and just pick up a guy who's been a head coach for a long time in the NFL. They tend to stay where they are unless they're not good, and then they get fired. So you have to pick from their staff and their staff trees. That's the way that goes. But it's time for a change, and I think I think Tepper's going to make that change, and I think Cam is going to be. I think he's going to be a Panther unless things go bad next year, or going into next year. Have a great night, guys. Love the show as always. Keep pounding, Sam.
Keep pounding, man. Tony, what? Yeah, that is.
All right. So what I stuck out. I said this a little bit earlier in the show is that I think that a lot of this also was the Saints being bad.
Yes, and that's my point too.
Yeah, and I do want to, if anything, just change gears on that. Speaking of the penalties, what about Cameron Jordan? Is there anybody that you dislike more in the NFL right now? That asshole was not trying to punch the ball out.
No, well, he led.
It was a forearm, dude.
Well, like, even if you look, he went when he saw that he wasn't going to get the ball, he threw his shoulder forward to hit his head. Like, it was a clear shot at Kyle Allen. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, you know, he's a dirty player, but at the end of the day, I kind of like him as a person, but I hate him for the fact that he just owns the Panthers for whatever reason.
Yeah, and he talks shit doing it too.
And, yeah, that like the wine bottle to Cam Newton pisses me off more than anything.
The broom, yeah, exactly.
The broom, I blame that on Ted Ginn and Sean Payton more than anybody. But you know, but nonetheless, man, this whole Cameron Jordan thing is anybody who's arguing for the fact that he didn't. Oh, he was punching for the ball. There was no ball even close to.
And don't worry. I got to hear that whistle, my ass. Even if there wasn't a whistle, it still was a shitty. It wasn't. It wasn't with good intent.
He still immediately contacted the head first, didn't he?
It was. If you're punching the ball, you use your fist. You know, he didn't punch. He used his forearm and shoulder. Now, I mean, like, I guess I'm getting bitchy about small things right there. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I do agree with Richard's Outdoor World, and something I've also been saying for a long time is we have been on a downward trend since Super Bowl loss, and I think that is really with Ron Rivera. Now, we could see this is that we did get one more year with McDermott after that. Defense was still good in 2016, But I agree that there was a distinct change in the way that Ron Rivera talks to people, the way he talks to the media after the Super Bowl appearance, to where he says this is we're coaching and they're not learning. And he says things like that all the time. Well, they ask, like, what do these guys got to do? What do Cal? These got to learn. These are guys doing what they've forgot what they've learned. And, you know, it's just all this is, and that goes back to another call, G-Baby saying difficulty developing young talent, is that Ron Rivera, I think, is a veteran coach. Thanks, Michael Jones, for the donation to the show. Tepper plans to build a wine and cigar bar inside the new headquarters in South Carolina. Do you think that Cam and Tep are low-key working together behind the scenes? And this is also Jeff Hodges' theory that Cam and Tepper have a deal arranged, and it's just time to get rid of Ron Rivera and bring that in. Would be, you know what, is even if they don't have a deal in place, Ron Rivera doesn't look to be in a good place. Now you go back to that game too. We had a lot of penalties. I wanted to get to Ken. Ken D said this, and I'll let you guys, because I haven't looked at the play as closely as it needs to be. Does the C3 staff have any input on the PI call in our favor? Down at the 3-yard line when the defender hit Curtis Samuel across the middle with an arm to the chest. I thought it was on Jarris Wright from the
It was
president. Okay. You guys have any thoughts on that? It's like one of the few that's worked.
And to my knowledge, it's unless you either of you know different. Has there been any other pass interference that has actually gone against the call on the field?
Yes.
Do you remember which one it was? I mean, there's
been 7 this year. I was reading a stat about it.
7 calls have been overturned from what they were on the field.
Yeah, but that's a very low percentage to the amount of challenges that have actually been taken. You know,
it just seems like every time I see them,
it always seems like they don't.
Yeah, man, they never get overturned. I was surprised that they did overturn it.
Yeah, we got bailed out by the refs too, guys. That pass interference call that they offensive PI on the kid that fell down. Cook. Yeah, is that dude? There was nothing there. There was it was, that was a bad whistle right there. So all right, we got a couple. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, the point to the fouls. A lot of people are going to point to this game being close. Oh man, we were playing against a contender. In my opinion, New Orleans isn't a contender for the Super Bowl. They're a good team that's going to make the playoffs, but if you look at them, they are very undisciplined. Like in almost every facet, you can see that their offense is not nearly as explosive as it's used to being. To put it in perspective here, you would think that Michael Thomas, with having as many yards as he is, he's one of the most explosives. He's got a less per yard reception rate than DJ Moore. Like if DJ Moore had his
where do you think the Saints are in the Super Bowl? If you're going to rank the favorites right now, I've got 3 teams ahead of them.
I think they're one and done, and I don't think they. Well, I should say that they probably they're in the divisional. Obviously, I don't think they get past the divisional. I think whoever they play in the divisional is going to the NFC Championship.
There might be 4 teams against them. I'd say number 1 right now has to be the Baltimore Ravens in my mind. Number 2 is probably the Patriots, just because they never lose, even though their offense is not anything what it used to be. Their defense is pretty good. They always find ways to win. Number 3 for me has to be San Francisco. Actually, you know what? I think I'd put Seattle ahead of them. I think
San Francisco.
Yeah. I mean, they beat them.
I think San Francisco is the best team in the NFL.
I think they're the number 2. I think Baltimore is definitely better.
Well, this is my thing though. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's right now. I feel like everyone's riding the Baltimore train, and they're a damn good team. And Lamar Jackson is shutting up a lot of doubters, myself included. But I don't know, man. I think defense wins championships.
They got a defense.
By the way, coming up here in a week or two, the 49ers play the Ravens. So we're going to see that matchup.
Yeah, but look, I would say this is the Ravens almost beat the Chiefs in Kansas City, and I thought that was the statement game that would have made me a believer in them. But then they've come and pulled off some other games. I mean, they are not only beat these teams, but they beat Seattle in Seattle, right?
And the Patriots. You guys forget. They
and the Patriots.
Dismantled the Patriots.
And they're blowing cats out now. And I think what's really hard, and this is, and to be fair, well, actually, in defense of some of the things, we are so wanting these new spread offenses, these creative things. The teams that still run the ball in the NFL are teams that do well. San Francisco is a great rushing team. Mm-hmm. And Baltimore, what I saw last night from Baltimore is that you couldn't get the ball back. Like it was, I mean, he was 6 for 6 on third downs. They're rushing the ball like crazy. They're eating up clock. They're eating up clock and putting up points. And that's crazy. Right? Right now the Ravens are a scary team to me. I think let's just say this, is that if you want to say that San Francisco is ahead of them, it's because you believe their defense is better than Baltimore's offense. But I tell you one thing, is I know Baltimore's offense is better than San Francisco's.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Lamar Jackson's he's the MVP.
It looks like 2015 Panthers. It just looks like the 2015 Panthers. It's the same plays. And you know what? Cam Newton threw the ball well that year. I know that they're running, but Lamar, that's what he did. He ran it all the way down to the 8, and then he's throwing touchdowns.
I think he's got the highest completion rate in the NFL right now.
It's insane. All right, next call.
What's going on, C3 Darius from Raleigh? I just want to say I think this season is a blessing in disguise.
I kind of agree with this.
When you look at a lot of the top teams in the league right now, and you go back and look at their records in the previous 3 years, they haven't really been on the plus side. So hopefully this season is a blessing in disguise. We get Cam fully 100% because let's be real, we were still going into the season questioning his shoulder and stuff like that. And the line is still banged up. I think this offseason we beef up the things that we're really missing because even though Kyle's struggling a lot, nobody has time behind that line. We can get Brady back there. We can get Rodgers back there. We can get Pat Mahomes back there, even Lamar Jackson. If you don't have time to throw the ball, you can't do anything. You can't operate anything on offense. And we just need to beef up the O-line. I think, honestly, we should just go back to 4-3 for the time being, especially with the pieces that we have on the D-line. So hopefully things just come around next year. Let's just end ball for now. Don't stress ourselves out on Sundays. And just truly be fans because before you know it, football is going to be over and then all season is going to ramp up. So hopefully we draft right and, we make the necessary coaching moves. I still think we should get Greg Roman. He spent, I think, 7 years here in Carolina.
Yep.
And I think he can bring some of that Ravens offense here. But let's just keep pounding, guys.
I love this call. I love this call because I felt bad that I didn't feel upset that we lost this game. And I just keep thinking this, is that like what CK is saying about New Orleans, if you think New Orleans really can't really go deep, they're a good but not great team, you know that we're one and done.
Yeah.
And right now is that if somehow the Panthers do go 10-6, like Greg has reminded us, is a chance. That means Ron Rivera's coming back. Well, it's not guaranteed, but here, the more he wins, the safer he is. But he keeps having this. It just looks like a mess right now. I think it's clear. Like, even now, I can't defend him anymore. It's really coming down to that. And the other thing I want to talk about with his call is beefing up the offensive line. Would you really be upset if next year's draft we picked, for instance, like a center in the first, a safety in the second, and then and two more linemen in the third and the fourth, offensive linemen? I do think we got to retool at defensive tackle right now. So that's another thing. It's like this whole draft probably should be a safety and all offensive and defensive linemen if you're getting Cam back.
Yeah, if you're getting Cam back, it affects how you draft, of course. I don't know, man. Listen, I don't even want to entertain the notion of doing this shit again for another year, man. Dude, fuck that.
Cody's gonna quit the podcast.
Fuck, dude, I'll fight everybody if we have to do the same bullshit again next year. I'm not here for it. It's time to move on. At that point, you're a glutton for your own punishment if you're still wanting to do the same shit.
All right.
It's yeah.
2 more calls. Let's go.
What's up, C3 Podcast? This is Carl D. How y'all guys doing tonight?
What's up, Carl D, my man?
First of all, listen to the cat calls. Well, since everybody seemed to be doing it, I'm ready to do it too, Tony and Cody. I'm going to get ready to get pissed off. Yeah. Let's get rid of this damn Ron Rivera. You know what? Someone, please explain to me. How the hell, how can you be a head coach as long as Rivera has been, and you still ain't learned clock management? I swear, man.
I always thought defensive coaches would be better at clock management.
Woo, you know what? Ron Rivera is going to make me change my religion. Fooling with him. His foolishness. That's all it is. Bunch of foolishness. Y'all hear me? And I do have a rant to all the people who's talking shit about Joyce Slide now. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry for my French. But you are the same people that talked all this shit about getting rid of Gano.
Oh, I hate
it. Gano is fucked up. And then when Slide comes, you on his you know what? Yeah, Slider man. Yeah. He has a bad day. Oh, let's get rid of this. Blah. Fuck that. You either take it or leave. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Tony, can you make up a sign? Can you make some T-shirts that says "Fire Run"? Because if you do, I damn sure be your first customer.
I know. I gotta give it to Cody.
What the hell? Why do I still hear people talking about saying, get rid of Cam and just let Kyle Allen be our guy until we find another future quarterback? That makes no sense, man. You explain that to me, Cody. Explain that to me. Yep. Everybody else pissed. I'm pissed. I'm tired of fucking losing. I'm tired of being like the Bucks. We're just as bad as the damn Bucks. This losing needs to stop, and Tampa needs to start doing something in the offseason. Okay. That's my rant for tonight.
Top 2 Russian teams in the league, Baltimore and San Francisco. Both are awesome. Next call.
Wait, hold on. I want to say something real quick. Isn't it ironic that at a time when you're seeing how devastating the dual threat mobile quarterback is in the NFL, there's a contingent of Panther fans that want to move on from Cam Newton. Like when everyone else is getting more athletic at the position, everybody wants just a basic old pocket passing quarterback now. Like what the hell are we doing? Come on.
I know it.
It's so stupid.
All right, last call on night.
I'm answering the comments made by one of your guests, Tony. Dude with the glasses. Sorry, man, I don't know your name.
Cool, bro.
You were saying something about you don't know your issue is why would anybody take a gamble on a man who wasn't that good after injury. Dude, go back and check your stats. Kaepernick, when he played under Chip Kelly, that last season, he had a winning record. If you look at his quarterback, his percentage, completion percentage and all that stuff, Kaepernick played good. And also the fact that you also need to look up that he was also awarded by the team
the team, the whole 49ers team, as a team captain. So, I mean, I understand you don't think, but the facts are the facts. You read your facts before you try to check out your facts before you try to make a nice statement. Because yeah, Cap was not that. He wasn't bad. He just, I mean, like your boy said, he played it was just a horrible team. When you play on a horrible team, no matter how good you are, it's
well, I do want to remind too is that he was coming off of an injury, so that he wasn't really at full strength. He did only play half that season. Remember, he didn't start as the starter that year. They went with like Blaine Gabbert or somebody like that for the first several games.
2016 they did start Colin Kaepernick because we played them in the first game, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
Yeah,
in
but it
2016 we
wasn't
played
college.
Denver. We played Denver in week 1.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
But we
And
did
I
play
say
San
this,
Francisco right after.
all you assholes that want Graham Gano, don't forget Graham Gano missed a kick in the Super Bowl and lost a game-winning kick against that Denver team that year. Cam Newton leads us down in a fourth quarter drive after people are taking shots at his head, and Graham Gano missed it. I say screw Graham Gano, and that's why I'm not going to be too hard on Sly, because I hate Graham Gano, but I continue to also, to be consistent, I always wanted Butker. That's who I wanted.
Yeah, me too. Can I just say about Colin Kaepernick real quick? Listen, I don't care any about this whole conversation, because to me it's like every opinion on the matter has been spoken. But I just want people to admit that really it's not even about like wanting Colin Kaepernick. Like most of us agree Colin Kaepernick should be playing football somewhere. But it's like, how many people really think that he is the future of our franchise? And like, how many people are wanting Colin to come in and play and be successful just because they like the man, they like what he stands for, and they think that he still has a big arm and all this? Like, it goes the other way. For the same people that are not even entertaining the notion of having Colin Kaepernick on the team, there are also those people that they just want Colin on the team. So that way, if he comes in and balls out, it makes them feel good to say, oh, yeah, see, Colin Kaepernick should have been playing forever. So it's like everyone has an agenda with it at this point in time. If you're going to move on from Cam Newton, then get a brand new quarterback in the draft instead of getting a guy who's 2 years older than Cam Newton. So
100% agree. Is that it really has nothing to do with the protest or anything how good Colin Kaepernick is we don't think he's good enough to be. How about this? Is he ain't better than Cam?
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Never was.
Very simple. Yeah.
No.
And I didn't like him at first. I'm okay with him after the protest thing. The reason I don't like Colin Kaepernick was because he did that button-up shit when he was in the playoff game, and he came at Cam in that game when he scored on our defense. So, all right. Let's go ahead and get out of here, guys. What games are this week? Who do we got in the NFC? We've got the Redskins.
Yeah.
So I think the Panthers win this game at home. And another game that actually hurts our draft stock and probably gives a little more confidence in Ron Rivera. But if we lose this game, guys, you know damn for sure that it's the end for Ron Rivera. And I did want to come back to whoever said that Darryl Worley was playing good in Oakland. Didn't they just get smashed by the damn Jets?
Yeah, but we gotta say that was all on him.
Man, what's it? Yeah. I mean, all right. So I got the Panthers. I got the Panthers winning this somewhere. Not even that much. Maybe 20-13. Boring game.
Oh, we better put more than 20, man. We gotta put 30 points on them. I'll say 34-21 Carolina Panthers.
All right, who you got, Greg?
I'm gonna say Carolina too, and I'm gonna go 34-24. Very close to Cody's. That
right.
sounds about right to me.
CK?
I'm going to go 35 for the Panthers, and then Redskins. I'm going to say our defense gives up 28 points.
Damn, that's going to suck if we give up 28 points to the damn Redskins. Ugh.
Dwayne Haskins' breakout game.
Who's Atlanta got this week?
So on Thanksgiving, we were treated to the Saints and Falcons.
Didn't the Falcons beat the Saints already once this year?
They sure did, and now they're in Atlanta. Not that that matters for much.
Right.
Yeah, actually, they play better on the road a lot of times, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
At least then when they play us. I'm going to take the Saints here. I don't think that the Falcons let me – I thought the Falcons were going to beat the damn Bucks, and they let me down, so I'm off the Falcon train again. I think the Saints win this somewhere 30-27.
Yeah, I'll echo the same sentiment. I don't think it'll be as close. New Orleans will figure it out. I will say 24-10. New Orleans.
All right. What you got, Greg?
I'm going to go with just the history of what the Saints have been doing this year. The reason why I say they're not a good team is they have a couple games they put up 30, 40 points, and they come back and they put up 10, 12 points. So I'm going to say Saints 17, Falcons 14.
Yeah.
So the Saints still pull it out then. CK, what you got?
Yeah, still pull it out, but it's not a big game.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna contradict something I said earlier, which I said the Saints aren't that good offensively. I think they put it together on this game, and I think this is a big win for the Saints. I think they're gonna win 35-14.
Okay.
All right, and who the Bucks got?
Tampa Bay plays the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, man, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a mess right now. I'm taking Tampa Bay here, and I don't care if they have 5 interceptions. Somehow Jameis Winston throws 2 picks and still puts up 35 points.
Right.
I guess they're always just chunking the ball around. The Jags are really a letdown team. I thought they were going to be better defensively this year. And people are running on them. They're a mess right now. Nick Foles. Put in Gardner Minshew. Give me the Bucks. And I say they score somewhere about us. This is like a 27-17 game.
I'll say Tampa Bay 35-24.
Greg?
I'm going to say Tampa Bay, let's go 42-21.
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to be a slaughter.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be I could see a 50 burger here.
Dang.
Hey, you got to look at this. They have 0 defensive backs to cover some of the best wide receivers in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say 52 to garbage time 35.
Yeah, my mind's all in garbage time, yeah.
All right, let's go to the ice up picks. And
can I go first? I got
please.
mine, and I'm chopping at the bit, dude.
Do it.
Icing up fucking Peter, you miserable losers. So, okay, UGA played this weekend, University of Georgia, and they panned to a shot of their mascot, a bulldog, in a doghouse. He's like napping, but it's raining outside. And Peter puts out this tweet, all caps, he looks miserable. Then they say no dog deserves to be packed up, carted from state to state, and paraded in a stadium in front of screaming fans. Animals are not mascots. UGA Athletics must retire Uga, I guess is his name. Immediately. You should be at home with a loving family. One, that dog lives better than most people living in the state of Georgia. I promise you that.
Amen to
And
that.
number
That's
two,
the best treated dog in the world.
did someone tell PETA that LSU has a fucking tiger? They have a literal fucking tiger on their campus, and this is the battle you choose to fight. Dude, PETA is a bunch of morons, and they prove it time after time after time. Shut up. You're not helping anymore. You're actually hurting your own cause at this point. To PETA, ice up, son.
Greg, you got an ice up pick for us?
I do, man. I do. Mine's going to be a little controversial for some people. I'll probably get a few people stop following me after this one, but I got to do it, man. I'm icing up Colin Kaepernick. I'm a week late on this because I wasn't here last week, but I'll go ahead and say He had an unprecedented workout from the NFL where 25 teams were volunteered to show up for him to watch him do training, and they were going to do real drills with real people playing against him, real time stuff where he does rollouts and all kinds of stuff. And he declined to do this. And people can say that he wasn't given the ample time to prepare for this because he was only given a week to prepare for it. And okay, that's a fair argument. But you can't post every single week, multiple times on your social media that you are ready and you've been practicing and you are working out and you're ready to go. Anytime a team wants to interview you, you can. And then whenever you get the interview and get a week advance notice, you're not ready to do it. And then on top of that, not only did he not show up, but he went to a place that was an hour and a half away and didn't tell the teams that were showing up to watch him until an hour before the workout. Therefore, they couldn't go see him work out. Colin Kaepernick does not want to play football. He wants to be a martyr for what he is, okay? And that's fine. I'm totally with his social justice argument and the debate he has. I'm totally for that. I get that, okay? Don't necessarily agree with all the ways he went about it, but I agree with the message he's sending. But he's not about that anymore. When was the last time you heard anybody talk about Colin Kaepernick and the cause he was fighting for? All you hear about now is Colin Kaepernick not being able to get a job, which is a bunch of bullshit too. Because if I get fired from my job, I can't say that I can't work because I can't be a mailman. There's plenty of other things you can do other than being a quarterback. Stop saying you're denied work and stop refusing work when you get an interview. That's all there is to it, man. So to Colin Kaepernick, I say ice up, man.
CK, you got anything?
Yeah, I do. I got some stats to come with mine too, so I'll be stat daddy for the night.
Nice.
So and this is, I know why it's the case that this is happening, but it's still ridiculous. So the Pro Bowl voting results so far have come out. Who's the number one voted in each category. Luke Kuechly is the number one inside linebacker voted at Pro Bowl right now, at least to date. Well, we all know what Christian McCaffrey's doing this year, right? He's leading the league in rushing yards. He's leading the league in scrimmage yards. He's leading the leagues in touchdowns. His average yards per carry are higher than the people with the equal or equivalent amount of carries. There's just so many stats that are going in the direction of Christian McCaffrey being the number one running back in the NFL. Well, I know Dalvin Cook's having a good year, but he's voted so far ahead of Christian McCaffrey. Okay. The part about this that frustrates me is Christian McCaffrey has 100 more rushing yards than Dalvin Cook, over 100 more receiving yards than Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook has a total of 12 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey has a total of, 16 touchdowns. And if you look at everything combined, Christian McCaffrey is doing it by himself. Like, we're not really benefiting from a great offensive line. We're not benefiting from the quarterback being able to read the defense and saying, hey, listen, we need to switch up and have you run the left side instead of right side or anything along those lines. Those are a lot of things that you don't have with a very inexperienced quarterback. So the fact that Christian McCaffrey is not voted right now as the number one running back from a Pro Bowl voting perspective is ridiculous. Now I get it; it's the Panthers against Minnesota. Minnesota is a much larger market than the Panthers, but holy crap, this is ridiculous. Anyway, that's a small ice up. But anybody who voted for Dalvin Cook over top of Christian McCaffrey, ice up, son.
Ice up.
My ice up pick goes to people who are finding it convenient to turn on Saquon Barkley. And right now, there's this growing sentiment against the Twitter draft nerds and the Twitter advanced stats nerds and all of this that Saquon Barkley was a bust pick, was not the best pick that the Giants could have made. And I just feel like this, how easily we turn on people. Saquon Barkley he has had, what if we did that to Christian McCaffrey after year 2?
Yeah.
He's on a trash-ass team, dude. A trash-ass team. So the idea that it's convenient for you now to say, like, oh, well, this is how you could have used the running backs or they don't give you this big advantage, this and that. Just wait. Is that all of a sudden you'll be changing your damn tune if they get it together. Saquon is amazing, man. He is amazing. And, is he struggled after the high ankle injury this year? Sure. I mean, but don't forget that the Giants have struggled. They're a fucking putrid-ass team. They're putrid. So, and their offensive line has been terrible. So, no, to you people who find it fun to find these moments to peck at people and think that you're so smart, I say ice up.
Ice up.
All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast. Cody, you said it was right. You said it. You said it was going to be a 3-hour show. I said, no, it wasn't. And then the calls kept coming. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicle. We're live every Tuesday night, and we're going to be after the post game against the Redskins at Cody's house if he lets us in again. Cody, how can they follow you until then?
At Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Follow me on Twitter. Tomorrow, there is a brand new mock draft on drafttech.com. Some new picks, new players, comments for the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans. And everyone, please enjoy your Thanksgiving. Be thankful for a very great many things in your life. And you should be thankful all year round, not just one day in November when you get to eat a bunch of food and America kills like every turkey that's ever lived. But yeah, exactly. So have a happy Thanksgiving. Don't let this embarrassing Panthers team steal all your joy, and be safe.
CK, how can they follow you?
You can get at me on Twitter pretty much anywhere by using this. It's code Dizzle Allen, CODIZZLEALLEN. Still trying to get my followers up there, so follow me.
Follow him. Code Dizzle
Follow
Allen.
this man.
All right, and let me see. I'm going to look at the count. You're at 108.
Nice.
108 and climbing.
Nice.
He's climbing. Greg, how can they get after you?
Nice.
And you can find me on Twitter at thebatdaddy52. I also do another show. It's the Super Civil Servants podcast. Drops every Monday, records every Friday. We talk about movies and all kinds of different stuff. Star Wars kick right now. If you want to talk about Mandalorian or anything Star Wars coming up, Rise of Skywalker, check us out, man.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys on Sunday. Until then, keep pounding.